Hey guys, guess what? You know, I've been crying lately, for example, because of situations like when your parents die and let's say you move away. You move away, you move into a hostel, you know, you're in a new area, and from that point it's like you have to build this life for yourself. You have to build this life for yourself alone, alone. And it's like you have to work. Your parents are not with you anymore, you know, and it's like you have to do your own washing, your own clothes. You have to take yourself out alone. You have to find a partner alone. Everything alone. You're doing everything alone. You run, uh, you run a business alone. You run everything alone, man. You know, and it's like what I have now is I'm grateful for. You know, I'm grateful for what I have right now because I also remember when I travelled Australia, how alone I was, and my parents were not with me, you know, and I experienced all that alone. Everything you see on my Instagram, I took those photos from around the world, you know. I did everything on my social media alone, you know. Every single program, every single photo, everything you see about me online, I did that. That's my achievement. And it's like when you're making events around people, you still have to do it alone. And your parents are not going to be there to watch you. Or when you have kids, well, one of your parents may be gone from this world, or the other parent may be overseas somewhere, living in a different country. And you're going to look at your children and you're going to say, you know, just that feeling. Like, where is my parents to see my children? Do you know that feeling? Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like you have children now, but your dad's not here anymore. Your mum's overseas somewhere. And it's like you're looking at your children. You know, you're looking at your children. And it's like that feeling. You know, just that feeling. It's like you want to help them. You want to help them so much. You know, my parents have given me so much. You know, for example, I start like getting angry at them. I start getting angry at them. I start, either throwing insults at them, or I start being very ridiculous, or I start being stupid with them in a way that I try to offend them sometimes. Or something like this, but they've helped me so much, and it's getting to that time, it's getting to that time. It's like, man, I have to pull the trigger, I have to pull the trigger. But what I have now, I'm so grateful for, I'm so grateful for this moment right now, because my mum, she moved overseas when I was young, when I was 8 years old. I've been living with my dad ever since, But I don't regret it. I don't regret living with my dad, because many people don't have a dad in life. So I walked in the room and I see my dad sleeping, and I just burst into tears because, he's 72 years old. He's 72 years old. He's nearing the end of his life. And my mum's living overseas. And I see what I have now, where I live now. And it's like, I sometimes get the feeling not to call my parents, not to talk to them, all this kind of stuff, I sometimes even wish that my parents were dead, for example. But I mean well. I love my parents, I'll always remember my parents. I went through so much with them. I went through so much with my parents. I have photos of them in my room. It's tough sometimes when you don't have parents, for example. I can just imagine, for example, how it is without parents in life. Or the children and people who grew up in orphanages, or their dad left them, or their parents divorced like mine. And what they're going through, And I want to say that, once our parents die, we'll be reunited with them. There is a God. There is a God protecting us. I just feel, I don't know, I just feel very upset, But I don't know if it's upset or I feel joy. I don't know what I feel at the moment. But I'm bursting in tears, I'm crying. My nose is flooded with snot and everything. And I'm just picturing something, I'm picturing like what's going to happen once my parents die. Once my parents die, that's it. I'm alone in this world. I'm alone. So Like, let's say you're with your parents at the moment, be grateful. Be grateful for your parents, for they're alive, they're well. And even if they're not well, they're still alive. And, you have to treasure moments with your parents. You have to spend time with them. You have to call them every day. Every day. Keep the enthusiasm going about your parents, No matter how demeaning they are, no matter how right they want to be, no matter how much they put you down, you have to treasure your parents. You have to treasure your parents. You have to be grateful that they're alive. I remember the journey with my mum, for example, going in a camper van, going around Europe, everything. My mum gave me everything, man. She gave me everything, you know. My dad bought me so much stuff, so much food, so much drinks. Took me out everywhere, bro, and sister. Took me out everywhere. And then the feeling where I feel at the pinnacle of my life, I have to move out. And now, like, I'm not afraid to move out, I'm not afraid to move out of my dad's house, But as soon as I move out, I'm not coming back, I'm not coming back to live with him, you know. So, like, I'm living with him now every day, and sometimes I get so sick of him, so sick of him, I sit with him for a bit. He doesn't talk, he watches TV or whatever, Then he says something about football. About football. He loves his football. He watches it so much, man. He watches football a lot. So it's all he talks about, you know? And it's like, I want to say, from this point on, it's like I have to move out, And once I move out, like, there's no coming back to live with him, And it's like I have to start a life for myself somewhere out of state, somewhere in a different state, And even though Melbourne, okay, for example, Melbourne is 9, 10 hours away from Sydney. Like, I'm still close to him, but I'm no longer living with him in the same house, And because of this, for example, like, I'm starting a new life for myself, uh, working, experiencing something on my own. doing all this alone, and meanwhile, he's just dying away, brother. He's just dying away. And, he's living alone, and I give him a call here and there. I update him about my life. And then eventually I might get a week off or whatever from work. I come visit him. I come visit and I sleep over. And then from that point on, I go back to Melbourne or whatever. Work. Come back, see him again. Repeat the process. Go see mum a bit. Say there is an opportunity or whatever. But you have to realize that eventually comes the day, I get notified my dad's gone. He died. And that's where I probably burst into tears, man. Yeah. And the thing is that once I move out, there's no coming back. There's no coming back. So, I may come back just to sleep over for a bit, to see him and stuff like that. But not to live with him, And with my mum too, every year I try to go see her every year. But our parents are going to leave us. Our parents are going to leave us. And then we're alone. Then it's figure out life on your own. My only family in Australia is my dad. In the whole of Australia, my only family is my dad and myself. Like blood kind of thing, And my dad understands me better than other people. My mum understands me also in a good way. I understand myself the most and God. But you have to realize that, we have to grow as humans. We have to grow. We have to make a life for ourselves, Everyone's got it tough in some kind of way. Life's not easy. Life's not easy, People work a lot. People work a lot. They work a lot and they still make ends meet. And the price of living is going up as well. And, when you see people on the beach with their families, or a person who's with a mature person, like a mature woman or whatever, that all started somewhere, But I want to say that, people create something for themselves, and, we have to get to the stage where we have the know-it-all in terms of we have to understand our direction, our move, where we're going, where we're headed, what do we aspire to be, what do we want to achieve with our life, And I want to say, ask for help. Ask people for help. I already see, for example, like moving to Melbourne, for example. Like, I'm not scared to move. I've traveled around Australia for 1 year and 8 months. I've lived in hostels for 1 year and 8 months. But, like, I'm not scared to go live in Melbourne in a hostel and start a life for myself, But once I move, there's no coming back, There's no coming back. And our time with our parents is very limited, We're working, we're with our friends, we're traveling, whatever it is. We're going to school, we're driving, they're sleeping, we're sleeping, whatever it is. Time's slowly ticking away, So I just want to say for this video, and all I want to say for this video is be grateful for your parents, treasure your parents, and do things for them, do things for them. Support them in any way you can. And love your parents, love your parents, man. And I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video in some kind of way. I want to say earlier in this video, I was just crying and, I was just upset. And I just want to say, just do the best you can, do the best you can, live the best way you can, and remember your parents.